computer.
Call a meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the first June meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Please know that a written record and a visual record are being kept of this meeting and so are available to the public. Do we have any awards, recognition, or correspondence?
I have none.
None?
Do know for the record that on Thursday of this week, the three commissioners will be honoring the public works staff as a matter of record for their exemplary work. Actually, it was originally scheduled to acknowledge their wonderful work during the winter snowfall, but I think to that we'll add the flooding as well. So.
Next Thursday, the 13th?
Oh, is it next Thursday?
13th.
All right. Well, put that.
Say this Thursday?
Yeah. All right. Well.
Oh, 13th.
All right, well, you make sure the record shows, Mrs. Slatt, that it's the 13th. The key part is
you're paying attention back there.
key part is that we're honoring the public works staff and both for the snow removal and that, but also they've got the flooding on top of that. So any other good words before we move on?
I'm ready.
Okay. We have the minutes of March 13th, March 20th, April 3rd, April 17th, and May 1st.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Council, any additions to the agenda?
No.
All right. Anybody wish to speak on any item that wouldn't otherwise be covered as part of our regular agenda? All right. Business items.
We're short someone for number one, so
I think.
here he comes.
Where'd they go?
Hey,
Good. Okay.
right on time.
All right.
Right up to the front.
We will recess into hearing mode for the purpose of adopting our 2019-2020 budget. Thank you.
Line by line.
Line by line. That's just like the legislature's doing. We're up.
Robert Paul, CFO. Before you this morning is the proposed, or actually approved budget for the 2019-2020 fiscal year for Umatilla County. We've prepared the budget and had budget committee hearings back in April. This was the budget they approved, and it's before you for adoption today.
Questions?
None for me.
I think the matter of interest to the public is that we spent 2 complete days in the month of April, along with the 3 members of our budget committee, going through this document, plus our directors have spent an inordinate amount of time, both internally and with our CFO and the assistant, going through the budget document. So
And it's
pretty well vetted.
It's been a process that's been ongoing since last October, too, so it's been put together piece by piece and very thorough budget.
No questions, we'll go out of hearing mode. And we have...
Did you get all the public a chance to
Oh,
comment?
sorry. Any public comment on the budget? Okay, hearing none, we'll go back into our regular session for the purpose of taking action.
Mr. Chairman, I move adoption of order budget 2020-01.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any related items, Council?
No, there are not.
So that includes everything, that includes all the tax rates and everything
That's
we have
part
to
of that
put
order.
in one fell swoop.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Well, I would like to commend Robert and Marie. While that item took less than 5 minutes, I can assure you it took considerably longer than 5 minutes for them to prepare a $91 million budget which just for reference is that document. So thank you for your.
Better part of an hour.
Yeah, thank you for your good work. All right, item 2, the STIF committee appointments.
Okay.
Stacy Coons, Umatilla County Transit Coordinator. And for STIF, since we serve seniors and people with disabilities, I recruited Melina Llewellyn from Mackay Creek Estates. So she works with seniors, and transportation is important to them. So she's willing to serve on the STF committee. So
How many members do we have on the committee now?
Darren Umberger just resigned, so we're down to 4. So members, so this will make back up to 5 members.
Well, but that's a senior member, and it's sometimes hard to get a senior member, so.
Yeah, we do have one, Virginia Beebe, she's a
Yeah,
senior.
perfect.
Yeah, and we're looking at possibly replacing Darren with maybe somebody with disabilities, since we do serve people with disabilities. So he's thinking about that, and we're also looking for an individual who can serve in that capacity.
Perfect. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move adoption of Order BCC 2019-036.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
There's another one.
STIF committee appointment, item 3.
Yeah, Norma Berber she's the Ukiah School District Superintendent, and she's interested in being on the STIF committee and representing Ukiah residents, and I think she'll be a great voice for the committee and also for transportation throughout Ukiah, down to Ukiah, the southern end of Umatilla County. And hopefully we will get our intercommunity grant for STIF and be able to provide transportation through Grant County Transportation District and have at least transportation through Ukiah, Pilot Rock up to Pendleton and Walla Walla here shortly, at least one day a week. They can come, and it will be fare free for them to ride and come into town. So, but I think she'll be a great liaison as we do public awareness down in Ukiah. She can help with that and get the word out to everybody down there. So,
Yeah, I know Norma and have known Norma for a long time. I think obviously she'll have a close tie with Mayor Barber of Ukiah. But I think she's had indicated an interest in being more involved in county affairs, and I think as we are able to expand our transportation services, even though we'll never have, I'm sure, daily bus service from Ukiah to Pendleton, even if citizens were offered one day a week and knew it would be reliable, they can not only get to the VA, but they can get to medical, they can get to shopping, they can get to all kinds of appointments.
yes.
So.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of BCC 2019-037.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Item 4, workers' compensation insurance.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Lanai, Director of Administrative Services, and I have Dick Ferranti here with Ferranti and Graybill Insurance. And today we're going to be talking about our workers' comp, which were a little earlier due to some of the changes on their prepay, where we receive a discount if we prepay by a certain amount. It's about an $8,000 discount. And Dick's going to go over that. Usually we have both insurances, our workman's comp and our property and liability insurance at the same time. But we don't have the numbers yet for our property or liability insurance, so we'll do that at the next meeting later this month. But I'll give the floor to Dick.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, now you have to see me twice a year instead of once. What happened actually is we basically have two markets in the state for workers' compensation insurance for public entities. It's either CIS, which is the City County Insurance Service Self-Insured Fund, or SAIF. In the past, we've been with SAFE, and I'm recommending we stay with it. There's just, CIS is, their rates just aren't competitive on the go-in, which I'll show you in just a second. But what has happened with SAFE is they came up with a new wrinkle this year, and that's why I had to speed up and have this meeting sooner than later, in that we have always had, not always, but for the past 3 or 4 years, we've had a prepaid discount. If we pay the whole premium up front, we get a significant discount. We had to have that paid by the 10th of the month following renewal, in other words, July 10th. SAFE decided prepaid doesn't sound right if you're paying after the policy originally starts. So they said, no, we're going to change the rules now. In order to get that discount, we have to pay 5 days before the renewal date. So they're asking for the money, which we'll be talking about, by June 25th. The main problem I thought of, and I discussed it with Robert and Marie, was with budgets and everything, if you're paying in 1 year for the next year, if that is a problem. And he assured me that they can work out. So that's not a problem. What you have in front of you, Commissioners, is the plan that SAFE has proposed. We've been with SAFE for the last 5 years, as you can see. And let me just go through that. If you have any questions, the manual premium is basically the rates by classification for all your employees, sheriffs, not water department, but road department. They each take different rates. So we take their payrolls times the rates, and they come up with a manual premium for next year of $240,475. That's a reduction, even though our payrolls are up, which tells us what? The rates have gone down. So even with payroll, and you can see that it's back to 2015, the manual premium was $278, then $276, and it's been going down, and this year was even more significant. So that then we multiply it by the experience factor. This is Umatilla County's own experience factor. This measures you against the average counties throughout the state or in the country, basically. And the way they determine this is they go back 4 years of your losses or of your history and use the oldest 3. The most current one isn't finished, so they can't use that. So every year we add a year to the formula and drop a year. And so with this year, we've unfortunately adding 2 bad years and we had 1 good year, whereas last year we had 2 good years and 1 bad year. So our experience factor, which is a measure against the average, last year was 87, so we were 13% better than the average. This year, it's going up now to 0.97 because of our loss experience. So we're still better than the average with that. So that came up with a premium of $233. But then there's discounts. And the first one is the one I just discussed. No, I'll take that back. The first one is volume. The bigger the premium, the more expense loading there is, or less expense loading by adding a factor in there. And so they are taking off, because of the size of your premium, $38,000 for $343 just for that fact. Then comes that annual prepaid that I discussed. And the reason we sped this meeting up to get in this is because by paying by the 25th of this month, it's $8,164. If you've got the money, you can do it. Well, you know, it should be done. I would recommend. The next one is the advisor allowance. That's for us. Our agency, Frantic Graybill Insurance, this is what SAFE would pay us in commissions. Normally, agents get commissions on a percentage basis of the premium. The laws allow anything over 100,000 to not take a commission from the thing, but go to a direct amount, a specified amount. And I've always felt it better with a large account because if your premium goes up, we get more money. If it goes down, we get less money. But that's not really fair. When your premium's going down, or if it's going up, you're having a bad experience, maybe I'm not doing my job as well. So the incentive isn't there when you do that. So we've agreed for many years now, I think it's 5 or 6 years, to go on a flat amount. And that way, we're still trying to do the best job we can, certainly for you. So with that, that would take off $12,830 that we would get from SAFE if we did that basis. But below, if you can see where it says negotiated fee of agent, we are adding back in the $9,000 that we have agreed, and we're certainly amenable to continue at that amount. The state tax is an addition to our cost of $14,636. And the federal terrorism add-on is $24.24. So your total premium this year is $199,286, which is only $4,000 larger than last year. And again, our payrolls are higher, which starts the whole program there. So that's the present. Any questions on the calculations or?
So we're not supporting terrorism, we're supporting the war on.
Correct. I'm sorry, I should have explained that a little bit better. Terrorism is, if there is a terrorism attack, the government will pay in certain situations, so we all pay tax on that. That's your portion of the tax. With that, I just need approval, I guess, to go with this plan. The situation with the rest of the insurance that we handle, the property casualty, we should have numbers by the 15th of the month. Usually that's when they come in the middle of June. But I thought we'd get this out so that Robert can be prepared to get the prepay discount in there.
Mr. Chair, I move that we continue the current workers' compensation insurance plan with SAFE and approve the payable for the premium.
Second.
As I recall, this came to us with the blessing of the fiscal office.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Item 5.
The next one up there is the election payable for postage. We have to go down and prepay our postage, and this is what we usually pay for our upcoming elections. This is basically the cost for us to do postage for the elections. It's a recurring bill that we do all the time. It's just over $5,000, so the payable just needs to be signed, and then Kim takes the check down and gives it to the Postal Service, and they add it onto our account.
Dan, is it a flat fee?
We just know about how much our postage is going to be, so we have to estimate how much we're going to be spending, and we spend about $20,000 to do an election, but then we have to send out all the memo cards and the buybacks, which we have to pay for all the ones when people move. When the postage comes back, we have to pay extra postage for those returns, and then we have to send them a letter. There's a lot of postage involved with elections to make sure that that person is at that address too, not just sending out the ballot.
At one point in time, there was concern this was an unfunded mandate from the legislature.
Well, it adds into our costs by sending out the extra ballots for a lot of people that originally did not want to participate in the elections, but now they're included. But on top of that, with the new legislation coming down, it's up in the air a little bit, but we may be incurring costs for people sending their ballots without paying postage. So the new ruling will be you can put your ballot in the mail and the state will pay for the postage, but we will have to see how that works out with some of our special elections and stuff. So but that cost will probably be passed on to the districts anyway.
So is that legislation passed?
I think it has, but it hasn't been signed, though. I believe it has gone through. And
I know there was legislation.
yeah, I have to double check. There's been so much
You
that's
could
been
mail
running
your ballot
through.
back for free.
Right now, things are going crazy at the with the legislation. Things are approving or dying like
At
flies.
an alarming rate.
Yeah, alarming rate.
Quite frankly, I am disgusted with unfunded mandates, and perhaps this might, if this in fact happens, might be an opportunity for us to file some sort of lawsuit as counties.
Yeah, the state says they will pay, but
If we
we'll have
don't,
to say.
if we don't at some point in time call a halt to it,
Yeah.
then it'll continue. All right, motion?
Moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Thank you, Commissioners.
Security gate repairs.
Morning, Jim Littlefield, Under Sheriff, Umatilla County Sheriff's Office, here requesting approval to repair our security gate. This is the gate that controls the vehicle traffic for the jail, and we've been having problems with it over the last several months, having to call the maintenance guy out at all hours to fix it. A couple nights ago, it stuck open, and so we had to call somebody out to fix it. So it's been a problem for a while. I think Commissioner Elfring was out to our office last week or so to look at the control panels, which are old, over 20 years old, and have been affected by insects and other problems. So it's time to come to fix it so it works properly.
There are holes in the circuit boards where it has burned. It's amazing to me that the whole thing hasn't caught fire and been a problem
Absolutely.
before.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the repairs to the security gate, including payment of $10,000 to RB Steel Company for new gate operators.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Okay. Thank you very much.
Item number 7, health insurance renewal.
Good morning, Jennifer Blake, Human Resources. I have a request before you this morning to renew our current health, vision, and dental plan. We have received a rate pass through Pacific Source with our current health insurance, meaning there will be no increase to our premium. So we have respectfully request that the commissioners go ahead and renew directly with Pacific Source so we can get on with payroll.
Pretty amazing turn of events, isn't it? Weren't we expecting there to be an increase?
I think we always expect there to be an increase, to be honest, just with inflation, but our group is running really well with our experience ratio right now, so things are good.
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, okay, thank you. Creation of positions, there's 2 items on here, 8 and 9, from public health.
Good morning. I'm Alicia, Deputy Director with Umatilla County Public Health.
And Joe Fumara, Director of UCO Health.
I'm just not sure which one's first, so before I talk. Okay, great. So we have 2 school-based health centers that are ran in Pendleton School District, and this last year they were run by Columbia River Health through a subcontract. They notified us in February that they would not be renewing their subcontract for the upcoming school year. So we've been meeting with our stakeholders, the school district and St. Anthony Hospital, for the last several months to discuss what the plans would be for the upcoming school year. And through that, we voted, or the group voted that medical sponsorship for running the centers would return to public health. And they also strongly voiced that they wanted all positions of staff that would be in the centers to be employed positions and employed through the county. The reasoning behind that is to help promote some stability in the center. When we were contracting for the positions as independent contractors for each position, we had a lot of turnover through that, which made it an unreliable service for the students in the schools. And so they're hoping, the goal through this is that with them being employed positions that will have more stability in it, the schools feel confident in the service and will see more students coming in and be able to deliver a better service. So with all of that being said, one of the primary requirements to be a certified school-based health center is to provide advanced medical care through like a nurse practitioner or physician's assistant. And we have a item before you today to approve a 0.8 FTE nurse practitioner position, and they would work full-time during the school year and have school breaks off. And we've worked with human resources to kind of sort out what that would look like on paper and have the position posting and job description before you today.
Realize there's been some difficulty keeping it staffed, but what's been the utilization there? Has there been good utilization of the service?
Yeah, there has. We see anywhere from about 150 to 200 students at each site. And a lot of that is actually through mental health services, which will be our next item that we're going to go through. And so they are well utilized and well appreciated by both schools. The last 2 years we saw some declines in the numbers of students coming in, and that is related to staffing vacancies. So there wasn't someone there for them to see for the service they might have been seeking. So we're hoping through getting it staffed right from the beginning that next year we'll see our numbers return back to what they've been before.
So is public health going to be the contractor or just providing the service?
So how school-based health center funding works is that the base funding that you get to run the center comes from Oregon Health Authority, and it goes to public health. And so we're kind of the default sponsor of them, but we can subcontract that out to another entity like we did this last year. But we also have the choice to, this just passed this year, we would also have the choice to completely pass sponsorship and contracting of it to another entity. So let's say, hypothetical, there was a clinic out there that wanted to run our school-based health centers. If we were in agreement with that and the county was in agreement with that, Oregon Health Authority could contract directly with that clinic now, and that's brand new this year. All the previous years since we've been running these centers since 1998, that funding has always come to public health, and if someone else did it, it still had to come through us and we passed it through. So it is kind of returning to us, and it is a public health program, and we'll see how it goes. I have full optimism.
Essentially, there's no cost to the county.
Yeah, the school-based health center budget receives no general fund into it. We get support from the Oregon Health Authority funding, St. Anthony Hospital, insurance payments, and some other small grants.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve creation of a 0.8 FTE nurse practitioner position.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next. Thank you.
Your second item.
So the second item here is also for the school-based health centers, and this is for the qualified mental health professionals that would work in the centers. We get specific funding from the Oregon Health Authority just to provide mental health services. And so these positions are funded through that system as well as insurance payments. And Amy from Human Services is looking to get some capitation funding to help pay for this as well. We worked with Amy over the last several months as we talked about what would it look like bringing on the school-based health centers again. And she was graciously willing to take on hiring and supervising the mental health professionals that would work in the schools, and they would be positions that would look similar to the RISE staff. So they're 0.8 positions working during the school year, and they would be part of that system that she's already set up of RISE staff and supporting them. But these two would be paid from the school-based health center funding.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we create the following positions: 2 mental health specialists, 1 salary range M24A at 0.80 FTE.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Item 10, road crosswalk order. I think there are several items that Mr. Fellows is going to address.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Fellows, Public Works Director. The order for the crosswalk has to do with some changes that the Echo School District made in their construction last year. They contacted us and we did some preliminary work down there as far as studies as to what would be appropriate. It was determined that a new crosswalk in front of I believe it's the new gymnasium that they added on, was the appropriate location, and so that's primarily what's before you today. One of the things that we look at on these is, crosswalks do serve a very specific function, and that's to the safe passage of pedestrians across the roadways. But one thing that we don't want is to have a 500-foot stretch of roadway with 5 crosswalks on it. So one of the determining factors is we really want to channelize that pedestrian traffic to specific locations, which is why you don't see crosswalks in the middle of blocks. Their request, originally they were requesting for 2 crosswalks, but they were in very close proximity to each other, which didn't make any sense to our department at all. And so we had discussions with them and finally came down to one crosswalk from the parking lot location over to the school.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt order number RD 2019-12.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I have to
Appreciate your interest in the safety of Echo students.
I have to put my glasses on for this one because this is going to.
More to read there, isn't there?
So the Public Works Department is before you today to potentially purchase 3 new trucks for our fleet. These will replace 3 older trucks that we're trying to surplus out before they totally lose all of their value to us. The 3 trucks that we're wanting to purchase would be a transport with a 5th wheel attachment on it for $124,570.36. One dump truck with a snow plow. The total price on that truck is $161,952.08. And then the 3rd truck would be a dump truck with a snowplow attachment and a sander. And the total cost of that truck is $183,252.08.
Tom, are these on a state purchase program?
Yes, they are, and actually it's through Sourcewell, which used to be NJPA. It's through contract program, and because International is a participant in that, we actually have the opportunity to use a local dealer, Woodpecker Trucks, for this purchase. So it helps out our county.
So these will be purchased from Woodpecker?
Yes.
Good.
And now, I didn't know the answer to this, but I just want to clarify. No general fund dollars are going to purchase these, correct?
No, this is all road department dollars. Road department is funded through the state highway fund, which is all dedicated dollars and has to go towards county roads, and that also includes our buildings and our maintenance facilities. We can spend those dollars on those because that's support for the road system.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion.
Can I ask one more question?
Oh, go ahead.
Explain to me, I maybe only know enough to be dangerous, but explain to me, isn't there some standards that require us to continue updating our fleet, some emission standards based on the age of trucks? Because we used to have some really old trucks, and how does this fit into that equation, if at all?
I don't know for sure if the bill has passed and been signed by the governor yet, but there is a new clean fuels bill that is currently working its way through legislation that will require us within, I believe, and there's been a little bit of change in that, but I believe it's within the next 5 to 7 years we will no longer be able to purchase anything older than a 2010 vehicle as long as it's a diesel vehicle on the road. So yes, there are some standards, some state clean fuel standards that are moving forward that have really sparked us to get our fleet upgraded before that drop dead date, because once we hit that point, anything older than a 2010 vehicle isn't going to be worth it. I mean, it's going to be scrap iron is what it's going to be. We won't be able to get rid of it because nobody's going to want it. So by last year, we actually started an effort to upgrade our truck fleets to meet that, what we see is an onset of a standard so that we can hopefully hit that point and not lose any more money.
Intending no pun, but would that be a rolling standard as each year goes by? The age would.
My understanding, no. At this point, they're dropping dead at that 2010 model year, and I haven't seen anything that indicates that it's going to continue to roll. I don't know what they're going to do with that. It's kind of it's pretty unclear to me how that all works. Quite honestly, a lot of what happens in Salem is hocus pocus to me. So it's
well, I think, as I recall, this has impacted school buses too and other.
Yeah, any diesel vehicle that runs up and down the roads, and it's not just the public sector; it's the private sector too. So you're going to start seeing, these trucking companies. I mean, they're going to have to upgrade their fleets as well, or go out. I mean, it's going to affect everybody really hard. And it's also, my understanding is there's some ties also to the cap and trade bill that's going through that, and they kind of work in hand together.
But some farm exemptions?
Pardon me?
Aren't there some farm?
I believe there are some farming exemptions on that if they're running farm plates, but a lot of our farmers, because their trucking fleet isn't sole farm use or product use, they actually run PUCs on some of their fleet. So it'll affect some of them too, but not the farming community. I don't believe gets hit as hard. And the equipment that we have, our yellow iron, like our road graders and our cats and our loaders and things, at this point aren't going to be affected by this. But I believe that as it moves forward through time, we're going to see those equipment purchases be affected by the same thing. So it's going to behoove the county to continue to upgrade our fleet to a point where we're going to meet those standards rather than wait and cost a lot more money in one big chunk.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we authorize contract for purchase of the vehicles as presented.
Second.
All fair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Who's doing the soil probe truck?
I can if need be. This is coming basically as a payable. Previously, the board authorized the extension service to replace the soil probe truck, and they've been seeking to try to find one that would meet their needs at a reasonable cost. They finally were able to do so through the GSA auction, and so they bid on a 2008 Ford F-350, and at this point they are the winning bid. And so it's now before the board to authorize the purchase and then the payable for $13,000 for the purchase of the vehicle.
So moved.
Second.
Fair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Item 13, fair payable.
This is another item before the board because of the dollar amount. This is the annual payment made to the Livestock Sale Committee from the proceeds of the previous fair livestock auction. In this case, the 2008 fair livestock auction resulted in a commission to the committee of $14,469.96, and that payable is before the board for approval.
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item 14, help grants.
Mr. Chair, the Help Committee, which is the Helix Adams group that received windmill proceeds for economic development in projects within their community, met recently and have before us today the list of projects that they wish to have approved. Typically what they do is they receive the funding and divide it between the city and the school. And there are projects that have been conducted by both that would never have occurred if these fundings would not have been available. Such things as putting in new sidewalks in the city of Helix, improving the school, their running track, their grounds, and making it a better schools. There's one that you can see there where water comes off of the parking lot, came right across the soil there, washed it out. It was not a good thing. They put concrete in there to make it better. There's other projects to put a reader board. So typically they come once a year and ask for funding to continue on. And Mr. Chair, I'd move adoption of BCC 2019-038.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Any other business? Adjourned.